Hello, and thank you for tuning into this YouTube video. This is my 1975 PREHE Jaguar Xjs. This is one of the earliest known surviving cars, and it was one of the first 20 cars built on the 31st of January 1975. And it was registered then to Jaguar cars in May 1975 and passed on to their press department for publicity purposes. And it was the actual car that was used in the 1975 launch brochure. And the reason I wanted to do the video really was I think the Xjs has finally become a classic. People are beginning to realise it's a fabulous looking car, and it's something totally different to anything Jaguar had made, and certainly now when you see one on the road it sort of stands out. So I think that quirky 70s shape, people are beginning now to appreciate it. Now, as I said earlier, the car was used for the 1975, and I think you will see it in the 78 brochure shoot as well, where the number plate has been doctored to an S, and they've taken up the matte black panel and just brightened the whole brochure up a bit. And as you can see, this one still has that lovely matte black panel, which they all had, I believe, up until about 78. There's been when I was researching the car with Jaguar Heritage, I did look into the brochure, when I spoke to Jaguar cars and gave them the VIN of the vehicle, they confirmed that any photograph information or anything they keep on cars are kept under a VIN number, not under a registration number. And they sent me all the thumbnail photographs they had of the car that were taken in 1975, and I think what was interesting was quite a lot of the pictures were taken with this plate on that you see now, and quite a lot of photographs were taken with the French plate fitted to the car. All the same photographs in the same locations. As I say, some they used in the brochure shoot, and some they didn't, so some of the photographs have never been seen, which was pretty good. So I've got all them as well now. It was nice to see all the different pictures and photographs and locations that they used for the car, and then just decided on what they were going to use for the brochure. And also, you might have seen on YouTube, there was a video by, I think it was Harry's Garage, and he's got a yellow version of this car, slightly later than this car, and he drove it over what he called Route Napoleon, which was down to the south of France into Monte Carlo, which is the route that this actual car took with Jaguar cars in 1975. So it was pretty cool for me to see that video, and that's probably something that I'd like to do with the car one day. It'll probably remain a pipe dream at the minute, but maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to get to do it. I just wanted to get this car out there really for people to have a look, to see what these early PREHE cars are all about. And this one's quite interesting in that it's being one of the earliest cars out there. It's got some, I think, are unique points on it, although I'm hoping that people out there will be able to help me with that a little bit. There are a couple of things on the car I'm not sure I've got right in the restoration. I tried to stay true to 1975, but finding parts for this car was very difficult, even here in the UK. Quite a lot of parts I got for it were from America or some of the other European countries, but very little I actually got from Great Britain. Now, while we're on the brochure, some people have told me that the car in the brochure with the French number plates is actually a left-hand drive. Well, it's not. It's this car. It's right-hand drive. It's confirmed by Jaguar Heritage, and they've just used reverse photography, which is something that they did in the 70s. Not sure why they did it, but they did. And you can clearly see that it is reverse photography, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but all PREHE Jaguars had the aerial on the passenger side up until 78, when it went over to the driver's side. And if you look at one of the photographs, I think it's of the front of the car in the brochure with the French plates on, you can clearly see it looks as if it's left-hand drive, but then the aerial is popped over to the right-hand side of the car. So hold the brochure up into a mirror and you can clearly see then it's a right-hand drive car, which is this car here. Anyway, enough of that, there's no nonsense really. So there she is. So we're going to get a little close-up of the car now. You may have noticed as I walked around it, another unique feature of this car is it didn't have any door mirrors, no exterior mirrors fitted to it. When I've looked at the pictures in the brochure, it never had any while it was in the brochure either. I mean, some of the other early cars we saw, there were 4 red ones I believe and 2 white ones, but I'm sure people can maybe correct me on that. But of the ones that I've seen previously, certainly the 2 white ones are not with us anymore. And the pictures of the other red cars I've seen, they had door mirrors. Chin spoiler there. I think it's the first for a Jaguar. Yeah, and out of the remaining 4 red cars, I think JVC 480N still survives. That's now black and is in London, needs restoration. And that car and this car were actually stored together before I purchased this one many years ago. And I think they were stored for a very long time together. Of course, I was lucky enough to get this one, and I said the black car went off to London, and that's the ex-Phil Hill car, and I believe that's chassis number 10. Chrome pillar trims. And the 2 white cars, JVC 484 and 485N, they're long since departed, unfortunately. I think JVC 481N is still with us. I think that's in Australia or New Zealand or somewhere over there. I have seen pictures of it, but that looked like it needed restoration also. So I have seen a picture of another signal red one being restored, I think again in Australia or New Zealand. But I'm not sure of the VIN number of that, if it's one of these early cars. You can see it's got the correct Jaguar script there, the correct colour, silver background with the black writing, where, as you may know, they changed that the other way around, so it had a dark background and the Jaguar script was in silver. There's that area on the left hand side. Say it took 12 odd years to restore this car. It's not concourse, it was never intended to be, wanted the car to be used, and I have used it. Probably not as much as I should have, if I'm honest. Probably done about 600-700 miles in it since since I completed the restoration. I started in 2004 and finished 2017. And it was quite pleasing to put the car through an MOT in 2017 and it passed without any advisories. I didn't expect it to fail. I didn't expect to get any advisories. I just put too much work into it. Niggles, yeah, I've had a couple of running in problems. All sorted now. See the wipers. Self-park mechanism to the driver's side, which still works. So we'll see if I can show you that later. Took a while sorting that one out. And I was lucky when I started restoring this car. I was lucky enough to get my hands on a very early 1977 car, which unfortunately was bodily, it was totally shot. But it had some useful spare parts in it, like the underwing panels here and the panels at the back there. So I was able to rescue them off the car, but to my surprise, I found that very many of the other parts in the car which were useful to me just simply didn't fit this car at all. I'll try and explain a little bit more as we go around the car about that. You can see the correct font, hopefully that's correct. While we're at the front, we'll just have a look at those headlights. And you can see it's got the correct Cibi Quartz headlights with a reflector in the lower part. I know a lot of people fit the HE ones now, because I think they're more available than these. And I've got to be honest, it took an absolute age and a fortune. That's a new headlight there. And same on the driver's side. I think this one came, I'm sure this one came from abroad. I can't remember which way around it was. With the correct style headlights, fitted, working. And you can see that little chin spoiler there. I'll just have a little close up of the sills. I'm going to show you them. I've had good information that the sills were fully painted, as you can see there, all the way down about the last inch, which I hope you can see under there. Very, as I know, the same setup as E-Type. See the lower arm locking wire there. I hope I got that right. As I said earlier, I had a Jaguar Heritage certificate with the car, and it's a fully matching numbers car. VIN is correct, body number's correct, engine number's correct. You see the drain tubes there for the boot. And these bumper brackets there, you can just see the line there, which is the bumper bracket attached to the body. And on all these PREHEs that I've seen, you could actually see that bracket, and I had the option of hiding it behind the bumper when I refitted it, but I decided to leave it where it could be seen, because that seems to be what Jaguar did. Another early feature is the tailpipe. As you can see, it's a flush cut, nothing on the end, and some of them had like a bellow on the end of them, but this has just been cut flush and sort of angled down slightly. So I did have the wrong type on there, but a chap I know called Dave has got a lovely early car like this, who knows a bit about these cars, told me that it needed to be flat. So that's been done, and that's again another part of what this video is about. If anybody out there can see that I've got something wrong or I need to change something, please get in touch. I'll just have a look under here. You might be able to see the body tag there, silver plate. It's got the correct number on it, same as the heritage certificate and the VIN plate. I'm sure that's supposed to be painted body colour, but I left it silver. See the underside of the car though. Still looks quite nice. I say I've only done about 600 miles in the last 2 years, so there's a bit of dirt and grime under there. Drain tube for the other side of the boot. And beautiful Kent wheels. It really is a nice wheel on any Jaguar. You can probably see under here condition. You can see the new pipe work maybe. The new exhaust. Really have replaced everything that could possibly cause problems or go wrong or needed replacing. It's been done. So have a look in the boot so I can show you the first area I'm not sure about. Spare wheel cover there. Just inside these carpets here. Carpet sits inside the base and it's took an age to get them. An absolute age. And these very early cars, you can see the battery cover there. On the 77 car I had, and there was a warning sign there, which part of the battery holder tray underneath. And for some reason these very first battery cars never had that. I've seen some photographs of the other two white cars in the boot and some of the red cars in the boot, and they certainly never had them either, so I haven't put it on this car. See the boot floor, perfect. You don't slam. Sticker. Now the first area that you may be able to help me with is, if we look at these, what I call them, sticks, panels that run along and hold the relays and everything. There's two of them on either side of the car. You can see they're held on by nuts and bolts here. It seems like these bolts go through the rear wing, which isn't ideal as the water runs down there. And it's the same on both sides of the car. And I suppose my question is, does anybody know if they should be painted body colour? I don't think so, purely because I had a HE car, 1984 or 5 I think it was, and that is a very low mileage one owner car, had never been restored. And I remember opening the boot and seeing these, and they were rusty and looked awful. Anyway, I changed them and put sealing washers under there just to stop any water getting through some. I mean, I don't think they should be painted, but anybody knows different, please. Oh, what you're looking at there is brand new. See, there's the area on the left hand side. Strange really on this particular car is it was never fitted with a radio. Let's have a little look inside the car. Another feature of the early cars is this chrome trim here. You can just see on the top of the door trim there, just before it goes into the pillar trim. There's a little chrome cap, and that seemed to have been deleted quite early on in the car's life. I have noticed that when it's in the garage and it's tight to get in and out the car, you can't catch on that chrome, so whether that's why they removed it. Just look up here, look at the trim just to see what I've done. You know, many XJSs you see with that little thing still in place. I'm not sure what it is or what it does. The plastic trim there. You can see that other cap there. And the other area of this car that took an absolute age to sort out was the carpeting, and as you can see here, it's got the what they call flock material. Almost appears to look like velvet. And that took ages to find. This is my second query. The transmission tunnel carpet there, as you can see, this is on the passenger side. I've got a join in it there where it runs back to the seat, and also then where it disappears up under the dashboard, just under the heater trim there. And the reason for that, I was told by a company called BAS International, when they built the first cars of these, they found it very difficult to fit that piece of carpet in one piece. So they decided to put a join in there to make it easier for production. Now, when I purchased this car, I did have some photographs of the restoration that was started on it, and I have a lovely photograph of this passenger side of the car with no floor carpets in, no sill carpets, indeed no sills or no floors. The seats are out, transmission tunnels out, sorry, transmission centre consoles out, but the carpet, strangely, was left in place. And even though I would think the picture is probably 20 years old plus, and there's a flashlight on it as well from the camera, it's difficult really to see, but as hard as I look, I cannot see that join. So if anybody knows any different, or if anybody has a picture of a 75 car, I'd love to hear from you. As I said, it's chassis number 84, I think it is, or 86 in Swansea, a white car, and that had this panel there joining it, so I put it in just to, I can always change it later if needs be. I don't mind doing that. And then you got the flock on the door as well. Another interesting fact about the doors is when these panels are off, there's just here there's a bar on the inside of the door, and the same on the other side. And there are two metal hooks on the panel that hook over on this car. Then two metal bars are actually riveted in place. Whereas on the later car, they spot welded in place. I'm not really sure why. So let's say these are riveted. The later cars are spot welded. Also, while I'm on the door, the mechanisms for the pull levers here on this particular car, they're two rods that are attached together via a spring clip, and you can lengthen the rods or shorten the rods by just bending the spring clip and moving the rods, and then the tension of the spring clip then holds the two rods together. Whereas on the 77 car I had, they used threaded rods with adjusting nuts. So I'm not sure if it's got the same setup as the E-Type, and not really sure. Another point is the seat adjusters. If you look at this raised dome from the 77 car, the early 77 car, that's a much flatter design. Another thing I noticed is the seat mountings at the front there. On the 77 car, they're sat on pedestals, which is above the cross member, and they just sat onto the pedestal with a nut and bolt through them. On this particular car, it looks as if the securing nut is welded to the inside of the cross member, and then the seat is sat on a round spacer, and then the bolt goes through the seat runner, through the spacer, and then threads direct into the cross member. So that was another early feature. Also inside I noticed on the 77 car there's a bracket here, a little L-shaped bracket in the glove box. So I'm assuming when the glove box is closed it put it up against it, and this car never ever had that. So let's have a little look under the bonnet. Jaguar's magnificent V12. A couple of interesting points under here. You see the struts there held on by a countersunk bolt and nut, and on the 77 car that's actually a nut and bolt, and the countersunks were correct. I looked into it. This bracket here, I'd have that remade. That was quite unique. I was lucky to be able to see that bracket, because I think on Jaguar cars, if you look at the brochure, they took a fabulous photo of the engine bay, something like that, without the bonnet on, so I could see everything under the bonnet. So I was able to remake that as close to the original. It's a two-piece plate. I think I've got that right. Very difficult to know because I've never seen one on another car. The other thing I noticed is side in here, as you can see, there's one on the passenger side also, but on the 77 car, oh sorry, that's the driver's side. On the 77 car, it only had one on the passenger side, so it's just one this side. And then when we look at the bonnet, you can see the catch there is straight and in line with the bonnet, but on the 77 car they've twisted it around, it's angled, so this is at an angle also. So there's a difference in the bonnets on these very early cars compared to the later cars. The other area we noticed is, if we go down, see this water pipe here. It comes along, runs out past the amplifier and over to the other side, and then you can see it attaches there. And then on the 77 car you can see the pipe came along here, sort of stopped there, went up here, and then around there, back in the other side, and then back over and connected there. So I don't know why they changed the shape of the pipe. I'm not really sure what that was about. The other area I noticed while I was doing the car, as I said, when we had the aerial shot, is the injector wiring on this particular car. The injector wiring loom was attached to the rail at the top, so the wiring went down onto the injectors. On the 77 car, when I was looking at that, I noticed that the injector wiring was at the very bottom of the V, attached to brackets on the little chamber plates underneath, and they sort of looped upwards and onto the injectors. But from what I can see from the brochure shoot, they were definitely attached to the top. Again, if anybody knows any different, please get in touch. I know it's only a trivial one, but there's an air conditioning pipe, a metal pipe. I'll have a look from the other side. And you can see the air conditioning pipe here runs down to the inner wing, all the way up the top to here. And because of this bracket I mentioned here, on this particular car, when I tried to use the pipe off the 77 car, it wouldn't fit. It kept hitting this bracket, so I had to bend and modify the pipe to get it to fit correctly. So clearly there were tiny differences between this car and some of the slightly later ones. I know the wiring loom was routed in a slightly different way. I was trying to figure out how to fit the engine loom back in, and I was trying to follow the 77 car. I realised quite early on that the looms are different. You might be able to see down there. As I said, it's a matching numbers car. We'll have a look from the other side. Just maybe see down there the engine number there, which is 8S1144SB, which is correct according to the heritage certificate. And if you look at the VIN, then you can see it 2W1019BW, body number 1027, which is correct. Let's get your gearbox number and engine number, it's all correct. Look inside the car from the driver's side. Stoppers there just to stop me banging the door in the carriage in a tight space. Never restored the interior as such, apart from replacing the carpet. The seats are just fed with leather, cleaned, conditioned. I like it when they look like this. Look like they've been sat on and used. I think it adds to it. Don't like them when they're over restored and don't look like you can sit in them without creasing them. Car never had rear seat belts. You can see the blanks in there. They were never ever fitted. All the holes have got the correct blanking plugs in them. Some of the other early cars I've seen did have rear seat belts, so I'm not really sure why this one didn't. You can see there, blanking plate for the radio because the car was never fitted with one. Clock is ticking. I can just show you underneath the carpets. See, you lift up the top carpet there. The second piece as well. So you can see the condition of the floors. Absolutely perfect. That's the same front. While we're in the car, you can see it's done 88,000 miles. All your lights are there. These switches, although they outwardly appear the same as the 77 car, I was going to use the 77 car switches on it, but when I took the switches out, the bulb holder holes in the back for the illumination are tiny on this car, whereas on the 77 car they were huge. Because the bulbs are bigger, the holders are bigger, the holes are bigger, the lume is different, so I couldn't use any of it. The other interesting part was when I did the dashboard, I was going to fit the 77 dashboard to it as well, because this one didn't look too good, although I've had it repainted now, so it does look nice. And when I took it out of the 77 car, and when I went to fit it into this car, it wouldn't fit. You got welded studs along the front of the bulkhead, and they just slide on, and then you put the washers on to tighten them up, but none of them lined up. I'd have needed to cut new slats. I'm not sure why that was, because I would have assumed that they would all fit the same, but they clearly didn't. So it's got the original one back in it, which fitted. Lovely new headlining, although it has started to drop in a couple of places, so that's a little bit annoying, but I can always get that done again. Let me switch the ignition off and on, just show you. There she goes. And I'll just show you them wipers. Just show you that park feature. Switch it off. Faster. Park. Cool. That took a while to get sorted out when I was restoring the car, but eventually I got there. So, I mean, if anybody's got any information on this car, please feel free to get in touch. My email address is jonesfrantic at AOL.com. That's Jones, F-R-A-N-T-I-C at AOL.com. If you know anything about the car or any information on the car, or if you just want to ask any questions. So we'll pop outside now and have another look around the car. I would like to know if any of the other cars survived. Certainly, as far as I know, the two white ones didn't, as I said. I hope the video hasn't been too long. Just wanted people to see it and see some of the uniqueness about it. The sun is coming up now and it's getting nice and bright. Okay, there she is. Chassis number 19. As I say, if anybody got any comments, any questions or any information, please pop me an email. Pop it down in the comments box. Many thanks for watching.